Alright, I'm gonna go over the algorithmic music generator. Algorithm and rhythmic genius, I know. But anywho, it's part of a hackathon project that me and my friends did to generate music based on sort of input from an EEG, since it's your stress levels based on sweat levels and whatnot. But first, real quick, I'm going to go over Python rtmidi. That's what we're going to be using. And basically this allows us to connect to virtual ports, because we're going to have it hooked up to a DAW where we have our instruments and whatnot. So we have our drums, and then our, harmonies and whatnot. And this can be whatever DAW you want. We just need to hook it up through ports here. But anywho, this should be here. Alright. But yeah, so we are using something called Python rtmidi to send the signal. So we generate it in Python. You can see a little bit of the code here. And then from there, we are sending these values, these MIDI values, over to our DAW, and we send them through virtual ports. So the virtual ports, we use, or at least I use here, MIDI Yoke to create them, since Windows does not like virtual ports. So you can go ahead and install it if you have Windows. I think if you have Mac or Linux, you might not need to install anything else, and you can just use them. You can just use whatever virtual ports they give you. And then through them we're going to send MIDI values, which I'm going to go over for a bit, kind of to explain what's going on. But yeah, Python rtmidi, here's a tutorial kind of setting it up, and I kind of just do the basic stuff. Alright, so with the channel, let me see, what over here, let's do, yeah, so you can see right here with chords, we're using our MIDI out set up by rtmidi. It's a message, and then we're sending whatever note is passed in. So from 0 to 128, I think is on the keyboard. It's let's see, basically one of these values. And so from there, oh god. Okay, so with the channel value, we're gonna look right here at one of these examples just real quick. We're going to send this right here, 0x91, as the channel. We're sending the note, and we're sending the volume level for this, in this case, 0x91. So if we go over here, you can see that in hexadecimal, this right here would be the 9. And then here, what the ends represent is the port. So since we are using, sending the chords to port 1, or as opposed to, on 0 indexing, so we're sending it to the second port of the virtual ports that we have here. So sending that, we're sending the first value, or the status byte, we're sending 9, which means that is note on. So when we want to send out on, we send 0x9, or for hexadecimal 9 port number, and then we want to turn the note off, send 8 and then the port number. So going from binary to hexadecimal. And so you can kind of do that with all the other ones. I'm mostly using note on, note off. I'm not really using the pitch binding or anything else. So in this page, which I'll link in the description, kind of explains more of it, so you can look it over and kind of understand what's going on with the MIDI signal. So yeah, we're using Python rtmidi to connect to some virtual ports, which we've made using MIDI Yoke, and we're sending these values over to create the music. So now to go over the code, I'm going to go ahead and start from the beginning. So here we have our imports and an empty description because I'm lazy. I set up the key roots in case I want to set, so kind of make it agnostic to whatever key is, because we're kind of building it all from intervals. So whatever the key, since the major third, minor third, and all that, there's always going to be the same interval distance from the root in whatever key it is. We can just set this up here. That way we can set a key value, and then from there kind of build, keep it all this, a lot of the same logic from whatever key you want to be in. So you set up the key roots, kind of just whatever key root in and what MIDI value is represented by it. We set up a few scales, same way. So we're setting up this 0 would be the tonic, or the root note. So in the key of D, that would be D, and then we're going 2 steps up. So D only goes to E, and then F sharp, let's say, and then 7 will be the perfect fifth, so A, and so on. So we kind of just built up all the scales like this, and then after that we just added I added a tune array here, and that array is kind of based on going from one of the more harmonically nice sounding chords to one of the more dissonant sounding ones, and this was mostly for the in the context of the project that we did for the hackathon. So the project was based on getting stress levels, and so for that we kind of made it so that the more stressed you were, the more fucky you would sound and whatnot. Same, we have some chords built from whatever the root note is, and then some major triad. We've got minor seventh, major fifth, dominant seventh, and so on, kind of built using different intervals. And then from there we kind of add them in the same way to an array here, and then so this is kind of like in a major key. The one chord is going to be a major fifth, and then we're going to use a major fifth on the one chord, and then we are on the minor seventh, major dominant, and so on. And that's kind of like if you think of a C major scale, if you do a major triad, or if you just do a triad starting on C, you get major, and then moving out to D, E, F, and so on, you kind of get those harmonic relationships and whatnot. And here we just kind of put them in arrays. So you can select based on what quality scale we're in. And then the chord priority, this is again mostly for the this is more for just kind of choosing what chord to play. So for our harmonies, the chords we're playing on the bottom of the music, we're kind of gonna say that like the tonic or like the one chord is most important, and then so the fourth one, the fifth, so 1, 4, 5, 2, and so on, with the 7 chord being the least, or at least the more fucky and whatnot. Next, we set up our timing properties. So here I'm just saying like tempo is 120. We're gonna do 16 subdivisions, and we have 6 instruments. And here I kind of explain a little bit more what I went over beforehand with rtmidi chord connections. And so the 8 and the way that I had it set up here, we have the drums, chords, melody, bass, pads, and so on. So those are kind of the instruments that correspond to this right here. And going back to this, so we connect to MIDI out, we open ports 2 for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. I believe that this corresponds to port. If I connect to 0, that would have been like the Windows virtual port. And then after that, there's MIDI Yoke 1, and MIDI Yoke 2 is just the one that I ended up connecting for arbitrary reasons. Doesn't really matter. You can connect to 1, or whatever it is that you are setting up the virtual port on. So here, we're kind of just setting up subdivisions, subdivision over 4 because we're doing it in 4/4. And then I set up a note map. So if you think of that as like a grid or a beat map, where each instrument is a row and each column is a 16-note subdivision. That is kind of just what's going on there. And that way we can randomly fill it with whatever we want. And as it's moving through the beat map, it is playing whatever it lands on. BPM, we're kind of converting the tempo into the amount of seconds in between each subdivision. So that's just that there. And then we have offset to kind of keep realigning it in case the code doesn't run exactly. Here we kind of just initialize the first note as just playing something on the drum and chorus to start off with something and whatnot. Same with the pad. We're starting on the key of F, so this is kind of our root note that we build everything off of. And here it kind of just initializes other stuff. So we're not playing the chord, we're not playing the bass yet, we're not playing that yet, so we are, and here it's kind of with the intensity level, since we have, we just set up 16 intensities. We said like, okay, in the let's say yes, so on the lowest intensity, on the lowest 3 levels of intensity, we're only going on the quarter notes, or sorry, like half notes, and then from there we go to quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes finally for the last one. So we can go as fast as 16th notes, and then kind of just edit a resolve thing. Or this is more for the EG stuff, so probably this is gonna go away. This important clamp, we just keep it some value within a range. Clear channels, we iterate through all channels, and we send 0x8, we send the note off signal to each of the ports and to each of the notes, so just kind of to empty out everything. And then each of these are based on sending the message to the appropriate port and sending the note at the appropriate level. So chords, it's a little more complicated because it iterates through. It grabs the chord that we are playing. So if we're in major or minor key, and then what chord 1 through 7 we're playing, it grabs that, and so it returns the 4 notes that's built from it, and it iterates through each of those 4, and it sends each of those. Yeah. So it'll end this one also. It turns off. It first turns off all the previous notes that were being played, and then because it kind of holds the chord until the next chord is played, so it turns all those off, and then turns on the next ones. If one was already playing. Lead here is so since I'm only doing one note at a time, so monophonic or whatever, it will get the previous one, turn off that, and then let's say turn on the next one and whatnot. Bass, same thing kind of going on here. And the pads going over the stack bits of whatever key it's in, just to kind of have more, kind of a little, I don't know, a little more texture to it. Key change is kind of just sets everything to the new key. Turn it, blah. Here we're updating the note map, so we are grabbing all the global variables. We turn how do I say it? So it tells us what subdivision's on. So there's the 1 through 16 of each of the measures and whatnot. It'll so it's a single measure. Sorry, 4 quarter notes. Yeah. So 64 subdivisions. So it tells us which one it's on, and then based on that, it will send the next value. And so for the previous project, this is based on the intensity level, and going up or down. But here, we're just kind of using random values. And so it'll decide whether to go to the next one, if it's holding one, and whatnot. And it'll set the next sort of, so this will select the right row, and then set the next value in the next place, or one is going to play the next one. And then I had a thing where after some time of being more and more intense, it will just resolve to C major and just kind of sound nice. So yeah, so here kind of it based on what intensity level it was at. So again, this is more for the EEG stuff. What was it? Based on the intensity level. Alright, so here it had a thing that it kind of resolves C major, sounded nice and whatnot at the end, just to kind of have some difference. But here we kind of base, we determine what to play and whatnot based on the intensity level. This is again more for the EEG stuff. So on low intensity, it's at, so it'll switch the scale each time it changes, and then, or at each so many intensity levels that it changes. But it'll add more, or it'll go to smaller subdivisions and switch scales to a more dissonant one and whatnot. So this kind of just updates that based on intensity level. It does the same thing for everyone. And then we add hi-hats here. And so at the higher intensity levels, whatever, the quarter root will switch to a bigger range. So here you can see we just picked from the first 3 and the first 5, and then later on from all of them. And so we add in that last 7 chord as an option for it. So this just kind of does all the same thing. So yeah, and then finally we set up the I at the end. So this is where I think we do the resolve thing. Kind of just set it to having. Oh God, what did I do? I don't know, so long ago. We kind of just set up like a more basic rhythm, and then just do some whatever stuff. So this is kind of all just playing around with the node map. Here is our main loop. So here we have this, which makes sure that you kind of see the offset here. It realigns it in case it ever shifts away from 16th note. So it's basically like a metronome that's running every 16th note. And so it has the start time and then the end time here, so we can determine the offset, and then that way, as it's running, it stays aligned. So as it's running through, it's updating the note map. If it's at a time where it will update, so that's what that's for. So it updates at more frequent rates the higher the intensity. And then for each one, it'll send whatever note it is on. So it'll run the code to send the MIDI note over here, and then it keeps on going. All right, and then the end, the channel, of course. Although I don't think it gets here, because it usually just closes it with by just canceling the command. So that is that loop. We're updating the note map, and then iterating through, or going through everything and sending the right MIDI signal. Because that's all we're doing, and then over here it kind of handles the rest. Just to show you what it sounds like, we are going to run this here. So that's it. The higher intensity kind of has more dissonance. Setup, at least the ports, so you might not have the instrument, the ports are set up all in the file I have in the GitHub, so you can check out whatnot. Hopefully that kind of explains everything. Unfortunately, you can turn those off. Alright, so that's kind of what we're doing here. Hope that explains everything. If you have any questions, let me know.